champions, Hugh Douglas. Welcome on in. It is the Midday Show. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, Kyle Quinn behind the glass. You guys with us, 215-592-9494. I mean, last night, Hugh, they did it. They didn't just do it. They dominated in a fashion you very rarely see. Good morning, everyone. The Eagles, the 2024 Eagles, are Super Bowl champions. Good morning, Hugh.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Philadelphia. Go Birds. That's all I got to say is go Birds. I didn't see that coming. It's a paradigm shift in the NFL. It's a paradigm shift, and there's a lot. Listen, I'm not about to have the whole show in this little time that I have, but man, I have a lot to say today, and I'm still reflecting and still digesting what I saw last night, man. But the one thing that stands out to me the most, and I was just talking to you this about the break, is that Jalen looked like he's looked all year long outside of two things. He ran a little bit more, and he was more decisive. But when you look at the numbers and the stats, Jalen was what he was all year long, and he's the MVP. And I just find it fascinating how the narrative has changed for him.
And everyone. I mean, that's what happens. You win the Super Bowl, it's different.
It's just crazy to me how he's looked at totally different. For one throw. The Devontae dime.
Woo!
Listen.
That was the exclamation point.
And listen, I know we're gonna talk about this all day, man, and we're going to be excited about this all day. But again, like I said, I'm still workshopping all this, and I'm still thinking about moments that stuck out to me. But another moment that stuck out, Joe, that damn defensive front four against five. Basically, that's what it was. And they dominated all night long. They pushed that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line around. I've never seen pressure, like somebody put pressure on the quarterback as fast as they did. It was phenomenal to watch last night, man.
It was amazing. The Philadelphia Eagles are world champions. Let that sink in. The 2024 Eagles are Super Bowl champions. 215-592-9494. Yeah, Hugh, I have a lot of thoughts. We all do. And we're gonna have the next 4 hours and the next few weeks, really, and a parade on Friday to express all of it. Today is a day for you. This is why WIP is here for you and all of us to celebrate together as the Eagles are Super Bowl champions. All right, a couple things, Hugh, that just stand out to me and stood out to me watching the game. I'll take the last thing you said first. That was one of the greatest defensive performances in the history of the Super Bowl. I don't care that the Chiefs got to, what would they get to, but 22 at the end? They scored some garbage time points. That doesn't matter. When that game was still being played competitively, it was dominance. The Eagles took an offense led by one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, or whatever, I don't care about the GOAT conversation today, but he's a great quarterback, and they completely dominated him, flustered him. I have never seen Patrick Mahomes look like that in a game. The only time that anything came close was when the Bucs beat him, but he had a turf toe issue that time, and his offensive line was all with backups. This was mostly starters on his offensive line, and he was healthy, and yet he looked rattled. They were hitting him so often and pressuring him so much, they made him look totally mortal last night. And for the most part in his career, Hugh, he has played like the greatest quarterback ever. Not last night. He looked rattled. And when, Hugh, there's moments in a game where you feel like you got it. And watching that last night, when they were up 10-0, right? Up 10-0, they were dominating the game in terms of the box score. They had like 100 yards. Chiefs had 0, whatever. They had 10 first downs. Chiefs had 0 or 10 yards or whatever. But it was only 10-0, right? That AJ had the penalty in the first drive, which cost them. Jalen had
bad call, by the way.
I thought it was a really ticky-tack call. I didn't like it either. Yeah. Jalen had the interception, the one blemish on his whole night. Yeah. And it was like, it's only 10-0, right? Like, they're dominating.
But it felt like, see, this is where I was, and I was tweeting, the game isn't over. It felt like they were in control.
Totally. But the score wasn't yet.
No, it wasn't. And you knew with the Chiefs that they start slow.
Yep.
So you were always concerned about, okay, well, is this the play or is this the moment where they're going to get it going? They never got it going. And, it was evident after a while that the Chiefs knew that they weren't getting it going.
You could feel it.
They got frustrated. They got frustrated, and then Patrick Mahomes tried to improvise. that's when he got in trouble. That's when he threw the first pick.
And when he threw the pick to Cooper DeJean and Cooper ran it back for the touchdown and it was 17-0, I didn't say it out loud. I didn't go to my phone and say it to anyone. I just thought it to myself. I said, they got it. Like it's their night. They got it. They're not. This team can't beat them. They can't move the football on them. Total domination by the defense, which has been the story all year. And Hugh, you mentioned Jalen Hurts because he was the other story. He gets the MVP, and on a night it was weird because the story heading into the game was the defense and Saquon. But the story by the end was the defense and Jalen Hurts. It was a night where the Chiefs decided they weren't going to let Saquon beat them. They were going to do everything they could to stop the run, and the game became about Jalen more than it has a lot this year, and he delivered. I thought he was so poised. I thought he was so on point, Hugh. When they blitzed him and he saw Dotson up the sideline wide open and he hit him, the fourth down, even though it was a bad call on A.J., he hit A.J., the big shot to Devontae. I mean, Hugh, every time they needed Jalen Hurts to make a throw in a big moment to kind of keep pushing that envelope, he did it. He was awesome.
You know what's funny, and I know nobody is going to talk about this, but I just – and I'm going to be – today I'm going to be a little petty because they won the Super Bowl.
They're champions.
But for all the people that complained about Jalen's stat line all season long and how – I'm just going to use the word mediocre, that a lot of people that he felt he was, and they talked about how, you know, he's not doing this or he needs to do more. And, you know, I sat here in all my infinite wisdom, and I said Jalen only needs to do what he's been doing all season long. 17 for 22, 221 yards, 2 TDs. Now, I can go through any other game that he's played in this season, and I can find at least 2 stat lines that are similar.
Oh, I'm sure you can, yeah.
To the one that he had last night. But you know what? The moment that's going to stick out to us is number one, to me, decision-making. It was definitive. And number 2 is the dime that he dropped to Smitty. Put it right there in his lap.
That was exclamation point, game over.
No, you know what that was? That was F-U.
Good.
That was F-U to all y'all that had something to say about the way I played and thought that I had to be more than what I already was. That's what that was to me. And it was great to see, man. Because, you know, sometimes you sit here and you look at certain things and you try to explain it, and some people just don't get it. So this is my I told you so moment. You know, just a little bit.
Well, they had theirs. And you know who got to have one on as well too? Nick Sirianni. Look, of all of the people involved with the Eagles, he was the one I doubted the most. And at 2-2, I was like, this thing's going backwards. And since then, they've lost one football game, and they're champions. And Nick Sirianni has claimed to one of the great 4-year starts of a career of any coach ever. He's a champion. Jalen's a champion. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. 215-592-9494. Let's hear from Nick Sirianni after the game last night, talking about the doubters and where they are right now.
We didn't really ever care what anyone thought about how we won or their opinions. All we wanted to do was win. That's why we listened to my prerogative a little bit when we were after some wins.
Not Bobby Brown.
Thank God. Thank you, Jesus.
Nick, you talked about the special brand of togetherness that this group had. You preached it all season long. How did that shape what happened tonight?
These guys did not want to let each other down. And yesterday in the meeting, they talked about not wanting this to be over. That's special. And they said the only way it's not over is if we have a parade and a ring ceremony later. So I guess it's not this 2024 Eagle team's not done yet. We got a couple more things to celebrate. I love these guys. Again, it just keeps coming back to, you know, you cannot be great without the greatness of others. This is the best team sport there is. Look at that. This is the best team sport there is, and you need the efforts of everybody.
Yeah, well, it's not over because we got ourselves a parade on Friday down Broad Street. Let's hear from the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, last night. A lot of scrutiny during the season, but in this biggest moment, he played his best game.
So I can't control what these people think, but if it takes all the hate and all the scrutiny and all the different opinions for me to be a world champion, then keep it coming.
Well, you know what? I'm so happy for him because he played his best. Like when they needed him, and that I don't think the question for a lot of people out there was, does Jalen Hurts have the ability? It's will he do it when the biggest bright lights shine? And he did it on a stage where Patrick Mahomes was on the other side. The best quarterback last night by a mile was Jalen Hurts. 215-592-9494. The defense, the coach, the quarterback, and an all-time great Philadelphia team.